Elements of an effective disaster recovery program. If you take a look at all this process, one of the things that we like to do with customers, because the process can take many years, a lot of times we're called in kind of like firefighters and asked to quickly implement key components in order to provide them with a program that's working pretty quickly and can get the job done. But if you take a look at the process we like to follow is right up front, spending the appropriate right of time in designing the process. What is that going to be? Do I have the right standards? Do I understand how big this is going to be? And getting the right participation, excuse me. Analyzing. Do I really know what's important to our organization from a systems and application perspective? Too many times people don't spend the right amount of time on this. Either the business guesses or IT guesses, but there's no formalized process to truly determine what's important to the organization. So if you have to spend the majority of your time is in the planning process and clearly understanding what's important to your company from a business impact analysis perspective. More and more companies are really having us make this a very rigorous process. For example, one utility here in Phoenix, Arizona, they've really moved us into the weighting of critical categories of impact so that management has the right to weight what is important to them. The business unit then has a right to weight them so that they get an even playing field. Because as we all know, too many times departments will say, I'm important, I'm important. Pretty soon you have a list of everybody's important versus really trying to determine what is it I need to run my business. We basically have told most clients, know what you need in the first 5 days, because if you can recover what you need in the first 5 days, you can run your company for an extended period of time. Risk assessment, clearly understanding what my threats are. We do have a lot of clients that have done threat and risk assessments, but guess what? It sits on a shelf, never gets updated. I never clearly understand what my threats are. How well am I mitigating them? Do they still exist? Spend the time in not only knowing what's important, but knowing what my threats are and how well I've mitigated against them. And even though a lot of us may have redundant data centers, now how far do they really need to be? What is reasonable based on the threats and changes in our environment over time? Writing your plans, mitigation, and making sure you have the right plans in place. Implementing the plans and making sure they're tested. Because even if we have failover, we still need to check our failover plans. We need to still make sure our data synchronization processes work, etc. Too many times people ask, well, how many times did I test a year? Depends on the criticality of your systems and applications. We have clients that test every 3 months. We have other clients that actually test every month because they do failover. It depends. Minimum, we always tell clients, test at least once a year. Can you demonstrate success every year? Do you know what you're going to test and why? Why am I testing? Is this going to be standalone testing, integrated testing, business process testing? Start to forecast what you're doing. And then last, training. That is so critical, getting the right people involved in testing and exercises. Making sure your people can exercise. As we all know, this comes down to people in the end. Yes, we have our hardware and technology, but the people still need to execute it.